Democratic policing. A conceptual framework to make this happen. What is democratic policing? Democratic policing is when the police uphold and abide by the rule of law, are accountable, and serve the public in a manner that is fair. Why do we want democratic policing? The result we are seeking is a police service that enjoys legitimacy. A police service will only be viewed as legitimate when it is trusted to use its powers in the broad public interest. Our framework for democratic policing can help you to understand what we should expect of the police. Trust in the police depends very much on how the police behave. For the police to be trusted, they need to act with objectivity, responsivity, and empathy. For the police to act with objectivity, responsivity, and empathy, certain inputs are needed. Let's take a closer look at these inputs. Knowledge. We rely on experts such as doctors or lawyers to manage risks in our lives. The same applies to the police. Policing needs to be evidence-driven or based on knowledge of what works in making society safer. This means that the police must be experts at what they are doing. Effectiveness and efficiency. We need our police services to be both effective and efficient. Here, effective policing refers to the successful maintenance of order, security, and trust. Efficient policing refers to the cost-effective use of resources. Ethics and accountability. The police have exceptional powers, including the power to infringe on fundamental rights. For example, they can arrest people and they can use force. These powers come with accountability. Police conduct must therefore be ethical and lawful, as this generates trust. Transgressors must be held accountable. Police must hold each other accountable for misconduct and criminal activity, including corruption. Even if only a few police officers abuse their power, the legitimacy of an entire police force can be damaged. Human rights. Policing must be based on the protection of human rights. The rights of all people, including suspects, are protected in the Constitution. Police need to be trained to perform their duties in line with human rights standards. Also, police need to be held accountable when they violate human rights. Police as citizens. The Constitution also protects the rights of police officers. Police work can be challenging. High exposure to stress can take a toll on their mental and physical health and lead to divorce, drug and alcohol abuse, and even suicide. This highlights the need for ongoing support to deal with work stress. As employer, the state has a responsibility to support the police in this regard. If the 5 input variables are in place, it should result in the 3 desired outputs of objectivity, responsivity, and empathy. Objectivity. Police officers are expected to be objective and treat people impartially. The conclusions they make should be reasonable and rational. The law provides guidance to the police to behave in such a way. Yet, the law also recognizes that the police require discretionary powers to perform their duties. If they misuse their power, it can have severe consequences for both the public and the police in terms of trust. Responsivity. The police should be responsive to the needs of the public, victims of crime, and suspects. In essence, it means that the police must not ignore or minimize valid requests or complaints from victims, the public, or suspects. Empathy. The police must show empathy with people, suspects, and the victims of crime. They must be able to deal with crime scenes and accidents in a way that respects the dignity of those affected. Simple acts like listening and communicating can help transform stressful situations. The 9 dimensions of democratic policing are interconnected and mutually reinforcing. The input variables should produce the outputs, which should lead to the outcome of trust and the result of legitimacy of the police. This chain is, however, only as strong as its weakest link. This conceptual framework for democratic policing can serve as a guide for strategic planning in police organizations The ACJR fact sheet titled Democratic Policing, a Conceptual Framework describes this in detail.